Hey, can y'all calm down, please? Where's the red toy? Because I know you got more than one toy. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Bethlehem. Is that Bethlehem? Beth Hidman. Okay, never mind. I can't see. My bad. I cannot see it because of the way the screen is and the way my eyesight is set up. Hi, I'm the one. Hi, so sweet. What does the collector need to know? Higher self, angels, archangels, spirit guides, and ancestors of the highest light and vibration. Whoever would like to come forward to give a message, please come forward. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the likes. This is a weird board. I don't even remember what in the world. They must have updated this. That's weird. I don't know what that's all about. Thank you for the likes. So for someone, I'm hearing cake baking business, and I feel like that would be very successful. I feel like whoever is thinking about doing this has a very unique idea. It's almost given like the energy of vegan cakes or some other specialty concept. Thank you for the likes. Higher soul spirit, what does the collective need to know? So I feel like someone may be moving to another state and you may be kind of fearful about the move. But Spirit's saying that they're going ahead of you to pave the way, and they'll be putting you in contact with several people that you can partner with. Thank you for the follow. Asia could be significant. So I just feel like I be getting random stuff, but Spirit is saying someone who may have a boot. You may have a boot on your foot, like for an injury. I feel like they're saying the doctors have been saying that you're gonna have to have additional surgery, but Spirit say you won't have to have the surgery. Thank you for the likes. I feel like Spirit is saying, can y'all stop? Onyx. Ani, stop. Oh my God. They go into play mode as soon as I get on here. I feel like Spirit was talking about a house. It feels like you're about to inherit a house, or you just inherited a house. What else does the collective need to know? So Spirit is showing someone walking on a city street. It kind of reminds me of like Brooklyn, because it looks like the person is walking past brownstones in Brooklyn, and it's giving the energy like you take the bus to work, and Spirit is talking about a promotion. I'm seeing someone in a wedding dress. So you may be getting proposed to soon. Thank you for the likes. I feel like somebody may be getting or considering getting cosmetic surgery. And Spirit is saying, don't go with the first person, go with the second person. So there may be someone who's evaluating two different doctors. Lord. I feel like someone who's a very powerful athlete is going to like win a competition. Is given the energy of like a triathlon or a marathon or something like that. Or like an Ironman contest. I feel like somebody sells like dinner plates. And I feel like Spirit's saying that you're going to get your own restaurant. I feel like you're going to have investors for the restaurant. But just be careful about the terms of the contract. So that nobody owns more of it than you. There's something significant about the Lion King. So maybe you have a child that likes that movie. But I feel like there's spiritual significance for your life in that movie. Now I'm getting emotional. Is one of y'all getting emotional? Because I'm about ready to cry. Hi, baby face. Alright, so Spirit, what else does the collective need to know? Thank you for the follow. So, somebody is coming forward for someone with a 3-leg dog. I promise y'all, I feel like I be just talking crazy. So let me know if that resonates for somebody. That's very specific. I know, Sean. I feel like Spirit is talking to someone about like not trusting your gifts, not having confidence in your gifts. Because a lot of times what happens is the most non-gifted, non-talented, mediocre ass people seem to be like getting the spotlight or, you know, gaining success and all of that. And, you know, you really have to focus on just running your own race. Like, it's not a competition, it's not a race. Everything is in divine timing and divine order. And so there's really no pressure to be a certain way or be at a certain point or have achieved a certain goal by a certain time. Because like goals are man-made. Everything in your life has already been designed before you incarnated. So that's why there's really no point in having like a lot of disappointment about your past and, you know, grieving the decisions you made, grieving the things that happened, wondering where God was when it was happening. Like everything that happens, it has a very deep, multi-dimensional spiritual reason. So, like Spirit is saying, what looks one way on this dimension may not look the same way on another dimension. So, like, wow. So, what they're saying is, like, on this dimension, it may look like an unaliving, but in another dimension, it looks like a birth. Well. And even if, you know, the energy of a loved one has, you know, been reborn right away or is in another dimension, that person's higher self energy can always communicate. I feel like Spirit is saying something about a dance class, so maybe someone was considering a dance class. I feel like you might meet your divine partner at a dance class. So it could be a scenario where you're both taking the class or you both are instructing the class. Spirit is saying to somebody, if you don't clean out your refrigerator, I feel like someone may be dealing with kidney stones. And I feel like Spirit is saying to drink water. So I'm not sure if this is anyone's loved one, but there's like a middle-aged black woman who's riding a bike, and it's one of those like beach cruisers that has the basket on it, and I feel like it has like a little bell. So it's something that she's saying, this might be a spirit guide. She's saying something about like someone may have had a dream that they were on a waterbed or like just on top of water. Stop, please, stop. Stop. This is loud. So there's someone that's about to take like a long car ride, and I feel like Spirit is saying the transmission might go out during the trip. So maybe take an alternative car if possible. I feel like Spirit is saying don't give up on love, because the energy feels kind of heavy around like feeling frustrated about like the process of getting to know someone. And so, you know, we could get into the mode where we've been single for so long and have had to go through the getting to know you phase so many times that we can become a little cynical about the whole shit. And so I feel like Spirit is saying try not to be negative, because they're trying to do their big one for you. I feel like someone may be coming in with a love offer. I think that's why Spirit wants you to like be open to love. And I feel like it's gonna be a real commitment. The two of you may have a child. But Spirit is saying, just know that there's going to be a lot of karmics that are going to come for y'all's relationship. So just get ready. And they going to use whatever tactic necessary, including their body. But I think this is a solid individual. It just feels like masculine energy. Like we have a man that's like holding up a baby, and so I feel like this is going to be a masculine who is very emotionally available, very consistent. He's not gonna be, playing games and pretending like he's fake busy. This person is gonna know that one of your most prominent love languages is like quality time. And so I feel like this person is going to really make an effort to make sure that they're spending quality time with you. And just like take the time to establish a firm foundation for the relationship. Like I feel like this masculine, it really doesn't want to rush things, because I think that's how that's how he perceives relationships to have failed in the past. And so you can meet this person through your work, or like through like whatever you do in common. It could be content creators. And we have the Twin Flames card out. And so I feel like you may be in separation from your twin flame, because we had Secluded came out right after Twin Flames. So in separation can mean two things. It can mean that you have met the person, but you separated and went in separation, or you know the person, but you don't really know the person. You may be like long distance, or like separation basically means that like each person, when they're on their own portion of the twin flame journey, you're in separation during that time. Like even if you've met this person, you may like just have casually met the person, and then now you're in separation. But this is not like, I'm not talking about if your relationship is toxic, that means that that's your twin flame. Absolutely not. Because what I have come to learn is that the twin flame journey is not something that everybody goes on. I don't know why I think it's this lighting. That's not but yeah, everyone is not on the twin flame journey, because they're very sacred unions that fulfill prophecies. I'm gonna look that up. So it says, sacred unions that fulfill prophecies frequently appear in theological, mystical, and spiritual contexts as events that bridge the divine and the human realms. So, yeah. Yes. Align with cosmic timing and signal a new era. These unions are rarely limited to mortal marriage. They often represent the reconnection of separated spiritual forces or the alignment of humanity with divine will. Wow. So it talks about the marriage of the Lamb. It represents a symbolic union between Christ and his redeemed church, the new covenant people, often interpreted not as a physical ceremony, but as a fulfillment of redemptive prophecy. So it also represents the union of believers with the divine. And I feel like they're talking about sacred unions in general. So, like, Spirit is talking about how there have been, so, hey, Tarot Time. There have been different times in history where things happened. And so, hey, beautiful, things happened and it really like threw the whole balance of the planet off. And so when things like that happen, like Spirit already sees the beginning from the end. So they already know all the different rises and falls of different empires and all the different changes and things that are going to happen. And so like I've been looking into the story of King Solomon quite a bit recently because my spirit team has been really talking to me about that, because when I had my energy read, where my energy projects on a piece of paper and it creates this piece of art, one of my pictures was the chalice, which is associated with King Solomon. And so I just have a lot of connections energetically to those time periods. And so when you have like, because basically King Solomon was given, and this is where like the Lord of the Rings and the Ring of Power and all that comes from, because King Solomon was given the Ring of Power and was given, you know, basically authority. This ring allegedly controlled demons and stuff like that. And so he was given like massive amounts of power, wisdom, money, gold. Like him and another queen, I think it was Queen of Sheba, but him and another queen were like controlling imports and exports and natural resources and spices and all of this shit. And allegedly he was like capturing demons with this ring and would interview them to see like what their weaknesses are. So he was just like gathering data on these entities. And so there's like, I haven't done enough research on it. There's a couple of different versions, I believe, but one of the ones is like, because he has so many wives and so many concubines, he had like 700 wives, 300 concubines, and it wasn't that he just blew the money on them, but he like, so there were these women, the women he was married to, whatever, they were practicing like the worship of some other kind of gods, and it was like he ended up going against God, and then God ended up taking the power of that ring back. Again, I'm trying to give like a high level cursory overview of the story, but it was like, basically, he knew how powerful he was. He knew how influential he was. He knew how important he was. But it was like he really didn't believe it. He really didn't embody it. And so he allowed like outside influences to cause him to like not really trust in God and go against God's plan and all that shit. And when his power was taken, so like this one video was attributing, hey Bookham, look, you came right when I'm talking about homeboy. But there was certain things that were attributed. Thank you for the heart, me. Hold on, I lost my train of thought. But so he basically let the influence of these women, and I think he was getting a little like beside himself with the ring of power, but he essentially let outside influences have him turn away from God and God's plan. And so when his power was taken from him, when the ring was like deactivated or whatever, he started turning to witchcraft, because it was like he felt unprotected, and so felt it necessary to do all these like protection spells and stuff like that. Thank you for the gifts. And so I think the moral of the story is this. And Spirit just brought that Lil' Kim song to my head right quick. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. So basically, when you fuck up the kitchen, you got to do the dishes. So, so after really kind of listening to the story a little bit further, that seems to be like where the fall of humanity occurred on some real shit. Like we talk about the Adam and Eve story, but it's really metaphorical. And but this dude introduced witchcraft and really kind of threw off the balance of the masculine and feminine, and the like the relationship. Because, and like I'm talking about the balance of masculine and feminine in the relationship. Now my higher self is touching my bed. Yeah, because like when you have so many wives, there is no way possible to give all those people, the type of attention they need individually. And yeah, so I said, if you fuck up the kitchen, you're gonna have to do the dishes. And that basically means reincarnating and closing the cycle. But you know, like I'm not gonna sit here and blame that energy for like something that wasn't already supposed to happen. And so that's why I know that there's prophecies to be fulfilled, because you have things that happened a really long time ago, and then you have different spiritual documents that talk about fulfilling a prophecy. But you know, like it had to be all in the plan is what I'm saying. So I don't like, I'm sitting here kind of mind blown because I can't even conceptualize what would be the purpose of throwing the planet into complete chaos or turmoil. But I feel like it has something to do with like having to throw the balance off in order to bring it back into balance. And that is even a deep concept in itself that I'm not really sure what that means exactly. So I really think that that happened in order to give, and I've talked about this before, I feel like that imbalance happened in order to give Source the ability to rebalance itself. Now, that concept I'm not really sure of, because, you know, we think about how Source is supposed to be perfect. Everything in the universe is perfectly balanced. So how could Source possibly be out of balance? But I feel like that's a legitimate download, because I've gotten this twice now about Source balancing her masculine and feminine energies, or its masculine and feminine energies. Okay, so all of this up until now has been happening because this is the final judgment. So in order to determine like who would be steadfast through all the chaos, those are the energies that will live eternity in the kingdom of heaven versus I mean, in real talk, like the world is hell. I mean, because it's a lower realm from the judgment realm. So I mean, if you look at the judgment realm as being like a tier below the throne of God, when you send somebody back down somewhere, that I guess that would be hell. Yeah, I don't know. So I feel like there's some shady ass individuals right now that are losing sleep. Like somebody may have withheld information from you or maybe taken some kind of inheritance. But it's like people behind a mask, which is more like people you know, not just like, you know, randos. But so I do feel like King Solomon would have to you know, do the work necessary to regain the ring of power. And I definitely feel like it took many lifetimes to get here. Because when you talk about having to like work on the human relationship, there's so many facets to it. Like I couldn't even begin to imagine how many different situations and circumstances would have to be encountered in order to work out. Please stop, because your bark is like really. Who barks like that? But yeah, there would have had to have been like many experiences to have to work that out. But I definitely feel like everything happens in order. Yeah, everything has had to happen as it should. And like for some of you, you may feel like you're like a late bloomer. I know I do, because I didn't know I even had gifts until I was 40 plus. And so I felt like I was just bullshitting through life the first half of my life. But I was really doing a lot of work in order to be prepared for what's about to happen. And it's definitely going to be a new era. One of y'all might be getting pregnant. Look, use precaution. If you don't want a baby, strap it up. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the spiritual secrets are being revealed. Spirit, are you telling me? Touch my back if that's what you're telling me. So why the hell are y'all having me talk about this? Sorry. Over here having a damn whole ass. I know. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Yeah. I've been talking about a divine masculine. I heard something. So I feel like Spirit is going to start having you kind of look at your life and look at your situation. And it's definitely going to, like, if you feel like someone is mirroring you, then they are. So I definitely feel like Spirit is talking about someone going through an awakening. So if you've been feeling anxious or like your energy is off, or you may have been getting like ascension symptoms that kind of mirror like the flu or like allergies. But you're going through a spiritual awakening, starting to remember who you are. Somebody may have been doing a little extracurricular activities in the bedroom. And Spirit is talking about like this energy is trying to like put the ussy on you in order to bankrupt you. That's crazy. I mean, it happens every day though. It's not surprising. This person could be doing like love spells because they're trying to get married. Damn. I feel like this person might be faking some spiritual gifts. Oh my God. Because there's a divine feminine that is operating her spiritual gifts. And so these people are like trying to be fake spiritualists. That's crazy. I don't even see how you fake that though. Like, it'd be amazing me at how people try to. So I do feel like, now I usually don't give these messages, but I am going to say that I'm just going to say it the way the energy is reading. That there's somebody that you may be in separation with that is for them streets. And I feel like Spirit is saying that person is going to get fed up with it pretty quickly. And is going to go through a transformation, like a death and a rebirth. So we have the Queen Bee card out here, and I feel like Spirit is talking about, so I found out recently that when a bee stings you, it's because they're trying to like heal something within you. And the buzzing of the bees is also like the sound of God. And so I definitely feel like Spirit is talking about the feminine acting like a bee. So like she'll sting wherever her masculine needs healing. And so like it'll sting and then it'll start to heal. And then, you know, that's when everything will start coming together. So I feel like in that process, this person is going to discontinue, you know, like being in them streets. I feel like the ending to that whole cycle is going to involve a little bit of chaos. Because we got karma, drama, endings, loss, mental breakdown. So, I mean, typically an awakening is a tearing down to build back up. And it's kind of basically like the tower moment. And so I feel like this person is going to have to go through a little bit of drama before it calms down. And it could be a little publicly embarrassing. I'm just saying. Like, Because the thing is that when people can really become obsessed, and if it's an unhealthy obsession like a codependency or something like that, then it can turn really ugly. I don't feel like it's gonna last for long, nor will it be like, super catastrophic, but it's just, people shouldn't have to do all that. I mean, seriously. I promise you, if a man doesn't show interest, I'm keeping it pushing. Whoever can have that person. I'm not sitting around here like, growing obsessed over somebody and then like have a whole ass fake relationship that I created in my head. Hell no. Yeah, happily single. I ain't got time. Life is too peaceful. I feel like Spirit is saying you've created too much. You've done too much work. You created too much of a peaceful, tranquil life to be out here playing games with somebody that, is not going to be on the up and up. Yeah, if they off and on, hot and cold, detached, it's not for you. What's for you is for you, and nothing can come against it. Nothing can, derail it. And that's why, like, people who really don't know themselves, they really don't have faith in the divine, and they're just operating from a very humanistic perspective, it's bad news. Because if you're only like operating from your human aspects, and I'm not saying you're only operating from your humanness, but if that's where your primary focus is, then it's gonna be tough. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Alright, so Spirit, what else is the collective need to know? I feel like there's a lot of Spirit, what are you trying to say? And so I definitely feel like Spirit is saying that you went through everything that you've had to go through so thus far, because you have to be really fortified, because there's going to be a lot of opposition. Because I've talked about this before. Even if people don't cognitively know what's happening, they energetically can read people. So your energy is reading people all the time. We just aren't aware of it. But so when your energy is reading someone who has who you have past lives with, hey Angie, who you have you know, you have your basically your memories of this person from a past life are coming on, and it can cause confusion because this person, you know, could be remembering somebody from a past life, but how, you know, what am I trying to say? So past lives do apply to the current life, but sometimes, like I was saying, you reincarnating to close a cycle from a past lifetime. It's difficult if the people are perpetuating what happened in a past life, if that makes sense. So it's like you're remembering a past life. It's just like if you were a serial unaliver in a past life and you had to reincarnate to close the cycle on that behavior that you had in a past life, you then have to come and work all of those things out in order to like resolve the situation. So it's kind of like the comparison they're drawing is like when you have an evaluation at work, you get you know, you get small evaluations throughout the year, and then you have like one massive evaluation once a year, and then that typically determines whether you get like a raise or a bonus or whatever. And so Spirit is basically saying like that's essentially how like working out karma looks like. Okay, so Spirit, what else is a part of the history? I feel like Spirit is talking about this divine union having a baby. I feel like it might be twins. Honey, I can't even imagine what twins would be like. That's next level. I feel like Spirit is talking about like the pregnancy is going to be really nice because it's going to be the first time that you have had like a really loving experience. And so, you know, it's definitely giving the energy that you've had at least one child previously, and maybe it wasn't under the most favorable conditions. I definitely feel like the child that's born is going to be like an ascended master. Spirit is saying, like, can you imagine giving birth to an ascended master and treating that child like crap? I don't even want to imagine. That's why I went ahead and I apologized to my children for anything that I did or didn't do. Because, baby, we don't know who we're birthing into this planet. I know I didn't. I definitely feel like twins because they're talking about Pisces and they're talking about Gemini. So those two signs could be significant. I feel like Spirit is talking about like you and this person combining your talents, your gifts and talents. So it may not necessarily be the same, you know, like even in the same realm of like type of gift, but I feel like that they will complement each other. I feel like owls are significant. I definitely feel like getting grounded is an important message to talk about because with the awakenings that are taking place and with the fact that they are, come on y'all, and with the fact that they are very powerful awakenings, like very powerful ancient beings are awakening, it's gonna be very important to stay grounded, for sure. Like very, very important. Alright, so Spirit, what else is a collective need to know? So I really hate delivering messages like this, but and this is for entertainment purposes only. But I feel like Spirit is talking about how you may have decided not to go over someone's house for Mother's Day, and that was the divine guiding you not to go over there because they have plans to do some shit to your food. Oh. That's bananas. Don't eat everybody's food. Shit. And this is random as hell. So you, and thank you for the repost. You or somebody you know, this could be a child, is maybe in like a double dutch club, and Spirit is saying that they're gonna win the whole competition. I really want to learn how to roller skate. Alright, so Spirit, whatever. Oh, excuse me. Bless you. I will never understand why people will ask me for a free question when nothing on this screen says anything about free reading. It's just, it really hurts my heart because it's really disrespectful. Like, it disrespects my gifts. It disrespects like what I have posted on the damn screen. Like, bruh. So this shit's frustrating. And does anybody watching know how to block people on YouTube? Because if this man comments on my videos one more again, I might have to take action. I said if he comments on my videos one more time, I'm gonna have to take action. And we got the obsession card. Welcome in. For some of y'all, this may be an authority figure that's obsessed. Like if you had a supervisor that was trying to come against you and they kept losing the battle. That man just asked me, what is it about me that doesn't want his love? Oh my God. So there's some people that you cut off that were like trying to sit in your energy, because I feel like they were feeding off your energy from like a spiritual perspective. Yeah, I said feed off your energy from a spiritual perspective. You said it means sweet mouth. What was I asking about? You are someone charming and excellent with words. Oh, thank you. We had Divinity and Earth Angel that came out back to back. Yeah, these people, like, it's way different when you do an Earth Angel dirty. Like, I'm having trouble getting it out because I'm like, I don't even want to think about doing an Earth Angel dirty. Because, like, not only are you divine, and not only does the divine walk with you, but you out here doing major work for humanity. And people really try to come against that because you have so much self-love that they don't know like what to do with that, because most people don't love themselves at all. And even if they don't say they don't love themselves, it's very apparent in their behavior. And so for you to be like in a category by yourself, people be trying to bring endings to your life. They be trying to put you in poverty, trying to block you from your birthright, your divine inheritance. But I definitely feel like someone's going to be contacting you. Possibly with a love offer, but I feel like this is also having to do with like some inheritance. And I feel like people caused you a lot of emotional pain and really weren't concerned about your outcome. But you still managed not to become the people that did you dirty, which is a beautiful thing. And it's unfortunate that it becomes so commonplace that people get hated on and basically like bashed for being good people. Like, that's so disheartening. It shows how low humanity has gotten. And it's really a sad state of affairs. Like, I was in tears earlier at work watching this video because this girl was like, you could tell she was just at her wit's end with life. And I know that that's the sentiment of like 90% of the world type shit. That, you know, she was basically saying, She had $20 to her name. She didn't have that much gas in the car. It seemed like she might have been doing some kind of delivery service or whatever. And she was saying that all she could afford was like 2 hash browns from McDonald's. And she saw this homeless guy that was handicapped. He was limping. And she gave him one of her hash browns. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, I can't be in here damn boo-hooing at work. Because she was just like expressing her frustration with the state of the world and like the oppression of people and the economy and like just so many different things that, you know, it's really not about playing the blame game at the end of the day, but there's a lot of wicked shit that has been put in place for the downfall of humanity. And Spirit is like, we're not letting all of humanity go down the damn drain for like a few people. That's crazy work. So I'm definitely getting the energy of you being a philanthropist. No jump. I think birds are very significant. You may be seeing more birds recently. So there's levels to divination. There's some people that just read cards. There's some people that read a combination of, like, I'm gonna just call it raw energy for lack of better terms. But raw energy and cards. And then there's people who just read pure energy and don't need cards. But whether you use cards or not, your Spirit is saying your third eye is a divination tool. And especially if your third eye is a crystal. And as soon as I said, especially if your third eye is a crystal, the way the sun looks, it looks kind of like a crystal. Oh. So I feel like when you and your person pop out, it's gonna be a lot of people that's damn gonna fucking fold. They gonna be mentally, emotionally unstable like hell. And I feel like there's some people that may be trying to create false narratives about either a masculine or a feminine. Yeah, trying to create a false narrative about a high priestess. Meanwhile, she's single, sexy, and successful, unbothered. Yeah, here we go. False again. Definitely confirmation of the false narrative. I know one thing. I know who I am. I am who I say I am. And I have lots of evidence to support who I know I am. Because there's people out here that will claim to be like, you know, a reincarnated ancient deity or something like that. And like, it's like, so what are you going based off of exactly? And I know that I can talk my shit. Because when we talk about spiritual warriors, a spiritual warrior has to overcome a lot of opposition, because that opposition is creating like environments where that individual is learning lessons and coming out of being in bondage. Yeah, I said coming out of being in bondage. So bondage could be like hermit mode. It could be bound to the ways of the world, bound to your past pain, past trauma. Nope. Yeah, there's a lot of hoes out here that's mad. They big mad, but you stay unbothered. And I'm hearing that song, I got hoes in different not hoes in different area codes. So working in the justice field could be significant. And that could be anything: attorney, courts, clerk of court, just, you know, all kinds of things. I hate these cars because this dude on this car looked like somebody I dated before. Oh my God. Yeah, as soon as I said this looks like somebody I've dated before, the destruction card came out. So Spirit's like, yeah, don't do that. Don't go back there. That shit. And this could, and like, just because this person can't get their shit together doesn't mean that they're not a divine masculine, because they could very, very well be a divine masculine and just be out here not getting themselves together. But justice is going to be served, okay? In your life, regardless. I do feel like for some of y'all, people like kind of trying to manipulate your thoughts or interfering with your head has, you know, kind of caused you to be this ice queen where you're not as open to love. But I feel like Spirit is saying you can be open. Yeah, you can be open because you're very protected. I don't know about y'all, but I know that for me, I just don't want to make another mistake. Hey Diamond. I have had so many ups and downs in relationships, and I shouldn't use the word mistake because nothing has been by accident, nothing has been a mistake. However, I'm at the point where I'm like, y'all, my heart can't take much more. It just can't. I'm good. How are you? So, yeah. But I think the divine is going to surprise you in more ways than one. Like, it's not just going to be love. It's going to be love, finances. Yeah, anybody. So anyone that comes against you, thank you for the likes. Anyone that comes against you is going to, like, the divine is going to reveal you to them. So, like, if someone is doing some kind of spell work against you, they're going to either see who you are in a dream, or they're going to, like, see who you are during waking times. And for some of us, our energetic self is huge. So if you're not ready to see what the giants look like, and I'm getting like tingles all over my leg. Spirit claims this is going to be a love offering. Some of y'all may have to move on from the last person so that you can get to your person. Hey. Okay. Now I'm tearing you up. Go. You said enjoying your messages. Thank you for your energy. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So I feel like Spirit is saying there are some demonic forces that need to be purged out of the planet. And so the only way to purge them out is to, like, for very powerful spiritual beings to encounter these people. And so that's why you had to encounter so many different That's why you had to encounter so many different people, so many different situations. You had to have just like a multitude of experiences, because in the process you are clearing out the demonic forces of the planet. Sir, ma'am, I don't know who you are, but you've been putting in that work. Yeah, like I said, using your gifts to take out demonic forces. Oh, they evil eyeing the hell out of you now. Please know it. And we had Twin Flame come out again. Yeah, they evil eyeing you, sis. I feel like Spirit is saying there's even some karmic masculines that are evil eyeing you because they feel like you abandoned them, like you just turned your back. But I mean, seriously, how much do you expect the person to take? Like, at a certain point, it gets to be ridiculous, and then I have to hold myself accountable. Yeah, I have to hold myself accountable for being subject to the abuse. Thank you for the rose. And I do feel like someone is going through a transformation from a karmic masculine to a high priest. And, you know, it could be involving women. Because this came out with the high priest card. But change also means transformation, you know, that type of thing. But yeah, but in order to make this transformation, like I said earlier, this person gonna have to get a little beat up. For some of y'all, this may be somebody trying to fight you over some masculine. Child, let me tell you, we ain't even got to fight because I surrender. You hear me? We not playing that game with folks. Not this year. Animosity. You can keep that right on over there. For some of y'all, there may be a masculine that's waiting on you to like move the relationship toward marriage as a feminine. Oh Lord. So from a woman's perspective, I know that I can't speak for every woman, but I would venture to say that the majority of women would like a man to take the initiative in a relationship. And if you start out the relationship where you're not allowing the man to take the initiative, then they're just never gonna do it. They're gonna be forever relying on you to pursue them. and, you know, organize dates and all that stuff. Like, the most beautiful experiences I've had is when men have like planned an entire date night, an entire weekend, an entire trip and stuff like that. Like that right there. See, men don't be knowing the strategy, because it's like so many complain about having to do stuff like that, but then the amount of rewards that are attached to stuff like that. Damn, I exhaled the same time she did. I feel like some of y'all are a walking love spell. Like, if you're a divine feminine, you can't help but be a love spell. And it's not, you know, it's not anything you're doing intentionally. It's just how your energy is set up. So, it's like something that's built into your energy. It's built into your aura. And that was for a reason too, because acting as like a love spell it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be very platonic, because I know that I mean, part of it is that I'm a Taurus sun sign, but I'm like the type of person that I want people to feel the love. Like, I want people to feel how much I care about them. And so, you know, that applies to my children. That applies to my friends, any friends that I've ever cared about. And I feel like Spirit is saying that's why you're going to definitely be blessed for, because like the way this card is set up, it kind of looks like what I was just talking about, like being a love spell and like emitting love from your energy. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I really don't like people like that. I don't. I just don't. You know, it doesn't mean that I can't have love and compassion for people, but like just dealing with people on a regular basis, I could do without it. On some real shit. Because look at how karma, like the dark side of the karma card and death magic came out here. Like, people are really willing to wish death upon people so that they can have what they want. Like, that's crazy. Well, I will never forget one time I was having problems with my oldest son's grandmother. Like, she was really trying to make my life a hell. And my ex-husband's aunt was like, you want me to make this doll right quick? And I was like, absolutely not. Even back then, that was decades ago. Even back then, I was like, I don't know what that means. I know that, you know, you talking about some voodoo doll or some shit. And I was like, I don't care how much hell this lady has brought to my life. I'm not going there. So it was like, and when I tell you, this lady like went above and beyond to try to destroy me mentally and emotionally. And actually fuck with the year of law school that I was in school. Like, she really did a number on my shit. I don't even think about it. But anyway, I'm not gonna trauma dump. But yeah, like, people really be out here just jealous, you know, because hate you because they ain't you. And so when people are jealous and they don't really know how to like control or tame this person or tame a person, a lot of times people will use like passive aggressive, underhanded, little manipulative techniques in order to fuck with a person's thoughts and like how they feel about themselves. And so a lot of us, I would venture to say that a lot of us deal with like abandonment issues. A lot of us deal with rejection. And so what I have found, like, tactics that people use on me the most are like treating me like an outcast or rejection, you know, just like excluding me. Because I was talking about the other day how I could be somewhere and it'll be a group of people and everybody's conversing and, you know, interacting, and then when I start talking, people be acting like they got all these other things to do and got to get in their phone and like talk to have side conversations. And those are all tactics. So I was watching this video and it was some real shit. This guy was saying that if a 10 out of 10 woman, and I mean, to me, a 10 out of 10 woman, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a banging body, which, I mean, of course, that's part of it. But I think it's way more than that. So, like, to me, a 10 out of 10 would be you are beautiful, you're intelligent, you have an amazing work ethic, you're pure-hearted, you have, you know, you just want to help humanity, and you just like, you're operating on a different frequency, basically. And so to me, that would be the 10 out of 10 woman coming into the room. And so he was talking about how like it could be 5 men and 5 women. And more than likely, like 3 or 4 of the 5 women are going to hate on this chick. Like, they're going to just look at her, pick her apart, try to figure out what's wrong, what they can talk about. And then one woman's going to be like, you know what? You are beautiful. Like, I have never seen anyone as beautiful as you. And, you know, just what do you do to your skin? It's beautiful. You know, just giving the person compliments. Not on no like creepy groupie shit, but just genuine compliments. And so that's gonna be from the women's side. And then he was talking about how like 4 out of 5 men are going to look at her as competition or feel like she's out of their league or whatever. And so they're not gonna like her because of that. And then he was like, the one guy will probably just want to be in her energy and just want to observe her and stuff like that. But that's really how shit be going down. And every time I'm like, maybe this time I'll be able to just like go into an environment and meet some really cool, down to earth, genuine people just once. And people just be on some other shit. Yeah, when you a 10 out of 10, you held in high honor by the divine. Because they're like, you're a unicorn. You are extremely rare. Like, there's only, like, maybe, there's less than 1% of the population that's like you. And really, that's the problem with humanity now, is that there's such an extreme imbalance between pure-hearted people and people who are just out here to completely pillage society and figure out how they can make the most money off of the most people. And that's why we have like such a problem with sex trafficking and drugs and all of that, because all of that is interconnected. So it pretty much, I would say the cycle starts with, like, you know, economic strain. And then depending upon, thank you for the follow, depending upon what your situation is overall, like I would say, depending upon how your parents or the adults in your household growing up taught you how to respond to adversity. So if your parents didn't know how to regulate their emotions, their nervous system was all over the place, and they were basically throwing adult temper tantrums, and so that, you know, of course the offspring is going to have problems with that. And so if you have a really poor response to adversity, that shit has so many detrimental effects on your entire life. And so I feel like Spirit is talking about, you know, like, to get back to what I was talking about, the cycle. So you have economic strain, then you grew up in a household, and I'm not speaking this over anyone's life, but I'm just speaking in general. The person grew up in a household where the parents couldn't teach problem solving. They couldn't teach emotional regulation. They couldn't teach, like, how to, you know, I mean, I guess that's problem solving, but like how to pull yourself out of a ditch. You know, even though you're facing adversity, you still have to take a ditch. You know, even though you're facing adversity, you still have to take action. You know, like if you know that you're facing eviction and you have children, as soon as you know you're falling behind, you need to be on that shit. You need to be at somebody's social services office getting all the information on what it is that you need to do. But I used to be a magistrate, and I would preside over eviction court and small claims court. And you couldn't tell me I wasn't Judge Judy. But anyway, when I had that job, I was like, it amazed me how many people would just sit like a sitting duck. Like you look, the paperwork has been served. You know that you going to court for this shit. You know that after court is over, you're basically only gonna have like maybe 30 days to get out, if that. So, it's just people just really don't take action. And so we had the child card come out. And so, yeah, like all of this shit stems from childhood. But at the same time, you can also take all of those experiences from childhood and you can flip that shit and alchemize it and turn it into your elevation. I think I'm going to post a video from when I was going through my awakening. But like, I look at those videos and I just feel like, sis, your whole life was fucked. Like, I'm gonna post a video because like I can't, and this is how I know that I was fully supported by the divine through all of that, because normally I probably would have taken myself out of here for the level of embarrassment. But I was able to like dig my heels down into the situation, and I was like, fuck that. Like, I'm not gonna let this shit hold me down. Like, as much as I wanted to crawl under a fucking rock and disappear, I was like, no, I'm gonna fight my way out of this. I'm gonna fight my way back. Because it was just something in me that was like, this isn't it. This is just something that you got to deal with. Yes, like everything is happening all at once, but it's not going to last long. And I promise you, I mean, I'm just going to keep it all the way real. The drama lasted, I would say, like a year or two until I got somewhat more stabilized. And when I say drama, I just mean like sudden changes, moving, doing things differently, cutting all of the so-called friends I had out of my life, disconnecting from family members for a time period, and just trying to figure out where my place is at, like, after that. And I just like, I have set such a firm foundation for myself leading up to that I just went back to that. So before that, I was doing a lot of manifestations, speaking a lot of affirmations. I had a war room. Like, I took a closet in my house and turned it into my prayer closet. And I would write stuff out over and over and over again. I was constantly reprogramming my mind, because I would listen to things while I was sleeping. I would write things out over and over and over again. I would speak them out loud over and over and over again. And so it's that action that I took, coupled with my faith in the divine and believing that they were going to always have my back, always make sure that I'm okay. It was that helped me get through the hard times prior to my awakening. And so it was that development of character, basically, that helped me to get through my awakening. Because if I had not gone through every single hard time that I went through prior to that, that awakening would have taken me all the way the fuck out of here. All the way out. And people talk shit about Stormy Wellington, but when I tell you, Stormy was one of the people that helped me get through my awakening. Because if anybody has been through like public humiliation and has had to pull themselves out of that shit, it was Stormy Wellington. I do not advocate for, and the interesting part is, it was Stormy Wellington and this young lady that's on TikTok. She calls herself Ori, O-R-I. And she does music, and I would listen to her music, and I would listen to her YouTube and her TikToks. And between her and Stormy, they helped pull me out of that shit, because I was like, if that bitch Stormy can be in all kinds of damn public controversy and drag her ass out of it every single time, no matter what it is, I was like, my ass can come out of this. And I put a video up the other day where I was talking about, like, one of the biggest flexes you can have is being a very powerful spiritual being, but still be teachable. And I know that and on top of that, this girl is way younger than me. Like, she's probably, I don't know, she may be like my oldest son's age. So like, I'm not only learning from somebody else, but I'm also learning from someone younger. And sometimes you have to, like, as older people, and I'm not claiming old now. Hold on. But, you know, as older people, we look at the younger generation as, like, not really having a good opinion about things, or not having enough experience to comment, or being naive, or, you know, like, whatever we can come up with to, like, invalidate the fact that young people are basically adults. You know, like, because adults are adults on the outside, but they function like damn kids. And there's plenty of kids that look young on the outside, but they're, like, you know, very ancient souls with a lot of wisdom. And so between both of them, I was able to make it through. And the interesting part is, Ori ended up meeting Stormy Wellington in an airport, just on some random shit. Not so random. But they ended up meeting and working together, and, like, Stormy became her mentor, and then she was helping her with her social media stuff. It crashed and burned, of course, because Stormy has a lot of work to do. But, you know, I take the meat and I throw out the bones. Like, I ain't got to agree with everything she says in order for it to, you know, do what it do. And when you are, when you're accomplishing things for society, for humanity, and a lot of starseed beings do that, where the work that they're doing is impacting not just themselves, not just their own bloodline, but also humanity. Like, Spirit is saying, we don't have a choice but to bless that. We don't have a choice but to honor your hard work and your diligence. And on top of that, the hardest part was remaining a decent person, remaining a lighthearted, pure-hearted person, despite all the manipulation, the control, the opposition for no reason. And Spirit said, you manifested this. Like those times, and I'm just going to use like my war room as an example, like all those times you sat in that war room, even though like, you know, you were struggling financially, maybe you had to work multiple jobs. Maybe you did some things that you don't really like to deal with or talk about. Like maybe you was, you know, at the stripping dip. I don't know. Like, I'm not here to judge. If I had felt better about my body, I would have probably been at the stripping dip. I ain't gonna lie. No, I'm not gonna say that because I was still very introverted and very shy. I guess if I was like had Cardi B type energy, then I probably would have been. But I don't know. Like it's tempting. When people talk about how much money they make, it's tempting. But I'm glad I didn't because, you know, it's kind of hard to work in the like justice field with the stripping past. But that's still no judgment. It still doesn't mean that you can't do whatever you want to do. And my ear is ringing. Yeah, no shade at all. No shade at all. And again, like, I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm not here to condemn anyone for what you went through previously. I'm just here to spread the message that the divine really doesn't care about that. The divine cares about, like, how did you move past that time period? Okay, that's how you made your money for a time period, even if you're doing it now. Okay, let's make an exit plan. So like, okay, we gonna work and doing this for the next 18 months, and then we're gonna save enough money so that we can exit and go and invest in some other career. So it's really just about, like I said, it's about how you problem solve, about how you respond to different situations. Because if you respond where you shut down, then it just compounds the amount of shit that you have to deal with. But if you I mean, it's okay to cry. It's okay to just want to lay in the bed. But don't do that for like a week straight when you know you have an appointment at social services on Tuesday. You know, cry and snot and slide down the wall on fucking Saturday, and then get your ass up on Tuesday and do what you need to do. I think I'm gonna get ready to close this out. Spirit is talking to me about something, but I don't even want to talk about it right now. Like, bruh. Um, so there may be this karmic feminine, but the ancestors card came out right after that. So your ancestors are like, yeah, try it. Fuck around, find out. Try it if you want to. Yeah, your ancestors are not gonna let any karmics steal what is divinely ordained to be yours. And see, what people don't realize, if we could see into the spirit realm, we would be able to see all of the abundance around us. If we could see, like, I mean, like, what I'm hearing is streets of gold and just all kinds of like amazing things. And I know that sounds kind of cliche because I know like the Bible describes heaven as like that. But like, seriously. And so like my spirit guides always tell me that the abundance is all around me. And honestly, I still am not sure if I know exactly what that means. But I just feel like the interpretation is that you can pull your abundance out of like your energy field. So like your energy has accumulated abundance over time. And especially if you have incarnated a lot of times, if you have if you're a very ancient soul, if you were here like up as a part of creation and the foundations of the planet, you have a lot of abundance stored up. I feel like there's a part of the Bible that talks about a storehouse of abundance. So in the Bible, the storehouse of abundance typically refers to God's divine, inexhaustible treasury of provision, specifically the heavens, skies, which sends rain for crops and blesses the work of human hands. It signifies both material provision and spiritual riches, such as wisdom, salvation, and strength. That's dope. So it says in Deuteronomy 28:12, God promises to open his abundant storehouse, to send rain in season and bless all the work of one's hands. And it's interesting because I follow two artists who have very prominent hands in pieces that they're doing right now. And so that's interesting to me because this other guy had both of his hands in the picture that he was doing. He works with charcoal. And then Bookham, he was here earlier. He's an amazing artist as well. And he has he's working on something that has a really big hand. And so I was talking to the guy who does the charcoal work, and he was saying that, you know, basically the hands were his hands. And he said like the part of the inspiration for the picture was that like his hands were open to receive grace, like God's grace. And I thought that was a really like a special concept because like we definitely have to be open to receive. And he was talking about like having room to receive. So like if you're carrying a bunch of bags and you don't really have, room in your hands to receive what the divine is trying to bring to you or give to you, that comes from, like baggage from your past. And so being open to receive love, all of that is very very important, because the divine is about to pour out so much abundance. So yeah. Well, thank y'all for hanging out with me. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the shares and the reposts and all of that. Good night.